YouTube. Man, we went in Monday for an overhead. 72 hours later, we are seemingly in overhaul phase. We went from overhead to now we're overhaul. Man, it's something about that. Something about that yellow motor, man. It's something about it. Um, so this is the rundown. So yesterday, I was waiting for a call back from the shop, and I opted for this shop again because of the overhead. So I opted for this shop because like it's the only shop that's close by that does engine work. So had I known, which I couldn't have known, and I'm gonna tell you why I couldn't have known that it was gonna turn into this, I would have opted to go to a shop that my buddy recommended. So maybe moving forward, if something occurs like that and I can make it to that particular shop, I guess that's where I go. But you gotta, bite the bullet. So, so Monday, I said a guy told me said he wasn't able to adjust one of the some about the valves or something was sticking up, right? And he was saying like, just the way the truck looks, it would be a situation where you were close to, you'd be close to dropping the valve. So I'm like, well, um, that that's a relief. So yesterday we were just looking at redoing the head, the cylinder head, just the whole thing, and the camshaft, right? So So I'm like, all right, cool. So he was like, yeah, so man, it's gonna be like, and then we're gonna, might well, redo the rockers and stuff like that. All that stuff be new, all your stuff up top be fresh. So I'm like, cool, all right. So then I said, all right. So I talked to my pops, who's been very supportive of everything I've been doing. I think probably the last 2 or 3 years is probably the most proud of me he's been. Um, I really attacked this with just I'm not gonna say reckless abandonment, but I really attacked this because this is something that I really wanted to do, and I'll it's just it's business, man. I continue to I follow guys on Instagram, not guys who do YouTube trucking. There's one guy in particular. I'm not gonna say his name or anything like that because I don't know, but and I don't really know his name, but he runs like some dump trucks up around VA. And so anytime something comes up with my truck and I think about something, I always go to his page. And the reason I go to his page is because he posts the wins and he posts the losses. And like I said, I think they have like 7, 8 trucks, and they run like Kenworth, and they got cats in them, so it's relatable. And so he posted a quote from a guy. It was like, man, being an entrepreneur, man, people make it look like it's glitz and glamour, man, but it'll be days that you'll be depressed, you'll be broke, but you gotta push. You just gotta keep going. So one guy commented to him and said, man, does it get any easier moving forward? And he said, nah, it just gets harder, but it prepares you, right? And one thing that people always say is like, the best lessons are the ones that, you're not seemingly told. It's the ones that you learn, right? So I looked at that and I just like, we gotta go, man. 16? All right, let's go. So, um, it is work that I've done because I've been working like on like I said, I told y'all a backstory. I was able to get the truck because I had the credit to borrow the amount of the truck and pay on it. So I was able to do that. So me building my credit up like over now, obviously you build it up. It takes time to build up, but it doesn't take much time to ruin it. For a lack of better terms. But at the end of the day, if you can kind of stay on top of things, which I try to stay on top of everything, right? Then just push it all into the middle of the table, and just go. So what ended up happening was, so he told me the 16. So I said, all right, well, cool. I go get, I got 10. I got some investments and stuff, because an investment, I'm investing in, other companies, and they growing, but I have to look at myself and say, okay, I'm a company, right? What is my return on my investment within my company, right? So I have to operate my company like it's a crypto or it's a S&P 500, right? They bring, money in and stuff like that. They have balance sheets and all that stuff like that. They borrow for expansion and stuff. So I have to look at my company like that. So I can't look at it and say, damn, and I'm taking so much out of my investment account that's growing at this particular point just exponentially and think about like, nah, I can't look at it and say, okay, well, it's just a truck and I'm a driver. It's like, nah, I'm the CEO and this is the product. This is my truck. So if I have to take investments to invest in myself more, then that's just what I gotta do, right? So so I called my company, and I could kind of tell by the lingo, and the guy just called me back by the lingo that was on the phone. It was like, I don't really know if they really want to go forward with this, right? So I was like, it's cool. So called my pops, and he's like, man, if you know, I I can help you, as much as I can. So I'm like, that's what it is. So I said, well, I'm gonna get up today. I'm gonna go over to the shop. I'm gonna check everything out. I'm gonna see what's going on. So I get back to the shop, go out to the back. That's where my truck at. So I'm looking. Like, why is my turbo off? Like the turbo off? Okay, all the other stuff that was off. Okay, I seen that. So the guy that been working on the truck, cause I think they got like one certified CAT technician there, which obviously, you know, CAT is not seemingly making motors anymore. Like you got people that are running older CAT motors and stuff like that, of course, but you don't necessarily need um, 5 or 6 guys that work on CAT when Cummins and Detroit are the motors that are out. I mean, obviously you can. I mean, if he's out, of course, I mean you may want somebody that can fill in his place, of course. But most of your guys are gonna be Cummins and Detroit guys, which is good because that means me and him, we can talk. So he was like, "You're not gonna like what I'm about to tell you," and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I didn't like the 16. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like the 16. And the way I look at it, um, if I'm not getting all those extra parts for the motor, like I'm not getting new turbos, I've already got a new water pump. What else you have? You have like your oil cooler and stuff like that. If all that stuff is good, then I mean I'm already knowing where it's going, where it's at. So so he pulled me over. So first he showed me a sensor. So I'm like, okay, what is this sensor? So this is your coolant sensor, right? For whatever reason, your coolant sensor was not reporting to your ECM that which the coolant sensor it took a crap, right? So basically it wasn't working, and the ECM wasn't reporting that it wasn't working because I didn't have a check engine light on or anything like that, right? So he was like, so come over here. So he shows me like the coolant. He's like, it's supposed to be like 20 gallons of coolant in here, right? This is how it came out. So the truck had coolant in it, right? So I checked the coolant. The truck had coolant in it. So what he told me, he was like, it's supposed to be 20 gallons. It's not. So this truck is run hot. And the coolant probably just went out the exhaust system. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just thinking, so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, we already replacing the, you know what I'm saying? We already replacing the head, right? So, you know, I mean, but it's good that you're telling me this. So it was like, so, you know, when I take the head off, right? When I take it off, I'm gonna be looking at your liners. And so when he was telling me the liners, I'm like, I'm glad I just recently watched a video by a guy who, that's what his channel's about, like working on cat motors, the Adept 8. So I'm just like, so I'm understanding what he's saying, because he was like, so he said, so if it's sunk down in the block, right, we gotta get that out of there. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get that out of there. So he was like, but you might, you might not. It just depends. I'm not gonna know till I take it off. He said, when I drove the truck around, I didn't feel like it had a miss or anything in it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So basically, this is what we are doing parts wise, right? So we got the headset, got the cylinder head. I don't really know what the headset is. I guess that's all the stuff associated with it. We got the camshaft, which they told me about. We got the injector O-ring. So it's like, what is that? It's 18 of them. New rockers, injector rocker, regulator thermostat, seal, some bolts, hook it up to a computer, miscellaneous, which I think miscellaneous, that's doing the putting the there may be, I'm gonna have to check and see what that miscellaneous is really. I'm gonna see what that is. And then we got the cylinder pack rods and lanes, right? So the new estimate, 24,365. So I'm just like, man. So we got $16,420 in parts. We got $7,322 in labor. And just so you don't think I'm just reading this off of a piece of paper, this is the estimate. So we got, that's the labor, that's the total. So I'm just like, man.